Welcome to the meeting today, Wednesday, October the 14th at 11:30 a.m. And what time zone are we in, Shita?
Eastern.
Eastern Daylight Time, correct? Okay. I welcome all of our members from all over the world. We have with us today members from England and Australia, plus throughout the United States. Just a reminder that all of our meetings are at the same time every week, 11:30. I guess the time will be changing for us, but it'll still be 11:30. The last Sunday, I believe, of October. And these meetings will last all the way through June 30th of 2021. You must be a member of Naples MUG to attend our Zoom meetings. And if and when we ever resume meetings at the library, those meetings will be open to the public. I would like to congratulate all of our new members, and I hope they are all planning on joining the group permanently starting November 1st. They're all a free member until November 1st, and after that, they become a paying member. And thank you very much for joining. I hope you've had a great experience, and I hope you will make sure you join for the next year. Thank you. We have announced our classes for 2021. Registration starts November 1st, 2020. The classes are on the, will be on the video. The description of the classes, the video will be in your hands in approximately 2 to 3 days. The meeting on the 21st, next week, will be Joe Kissel, and it will be our first meeting on Mac OS Big Sur. This should be a great meeting. Joe is the owner of Take Control Books, publisher and author of many of the books, and it's a thrill to have Joe with us. The last meeting of October will be about our classes. The major presenters will be Jeff and Eckert. Jeff is in charge of the actual content of the classes and organizes the classes. And Eckert is responsible, of course, for Zoom and all the other background activities that take place for the classes, and there are many of them. The classes, like I said, will be open for reservations on the 1st of November. As far as the classes are concerned, our instructors are these folks right here. The meeting today is our famous Mitch Bryars, the expert in iOS and OS for the watch and the iPad. And also he keeps us aware of all the activity that usually takes place at all the Apple major announcements, which one was yesterday. So Mitch, it's all yours. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending.
Today, I'm going to spend the bulk of the time on the announcement that was made yesterday by Apple. Two major products that were announced. One was the Mini AirPod, and the other was the whole lineup of new iPhone 12s. And then when I get through with these slides, I'm gonna do it a little differently today. When I get through with my slides and photos, then at the appropriate time, I will take questions and I'll indicate that to Sheeta. So this first slide over here on the left is the lineup. This white phone was the one, the EX or SE that came out 2 or 3 or 4 months ago. These are the 4 that came out yesterday. And so with that, let me go to the next slide.
Mitch, could you close the page above your slide, the Zoom page there?
Oh, I didn't know you could see that.
We could see it. Thank you.
Okay. So, okay, the HomePod Mini, it's pretty recently priced, $99. It has a couple very sophisticated speakers in it. It comes in black or white, and these are the things that you can play on it. Now, the last 2, which is Amazon Music and Pandora, are not currently available, but they said they will be available in a few months. But these are immediately available now, and I believe you can order this right now or in the next few days. Their presentation on this was very impressive, and I suggest that you go to the Apple website or go to YouTube's and put the new HomePod Mini in, and you will get a complete review. I'm not going to do more on it right now. So next is the iPhone announcement. And again, this is the one that was announced a while back, but here are the ones that were announced yesterday. Was the, oh, this is an old photo. No, let's not go with that. Let's go with this photo over here. What was announced yesterday was the iPhone 12 mini and the regular, and they are both identical in every respect except size and battery life, which I will go over in a little while. And then also the Pro line was announced. The Pro, the regular Pro is the same size as the 12, same physical size. The Pro Max, or Plus, whatever they call it, is bigger, and it's the biggest iPhone they've ever made. It's 6.7 inches across, and we will be going over some of that material as well. So, okay. And the first thing I want to talk about are all of the items that are the same on all 4 of these phones. And I'm going to go through them quickly. One of them is this ceramic shield. But before I get into that, all of them do support 5G millimeter wave capability in the United States. Now, the 5G millimeter capability is the fastest 5G available. Apparently outside the United States, that's not an option at this point. But they will all support that, and they will support lower levels of 5G. There are 2 or 3 levels of 5G that are available. Verizon is, they're building their network based on this fastest model. And the problem with this whole thing is if you're buying this phone for 5G, I would say don't buy the phone, because the fact of the matter is that 5G is not going to be available widely for probably at least a year, probably 2 or 3 years. I mean, The problem with 5G is the towers have to be very close together, much closer than LTE. And so if you're expecting to go out and buy a phone and you're going to get 5G rapid speeds right away, unless you're in one of the cities that has these and you're in the right location, it's just not going to happen. But that being said, having that chip in the phone when it does become available, if it's a year, 2 years, 3 years, or if you travel when it's available in another city, you will be able to take advantage of it. So all of them have that. All of them have new cameras that have 27% more light, that allow in 27% more light. All of them support the new mag safe system, which is a magnetic system on the back of the phone that you cannot see, but it is magnetic. It shields the inside of the phone so it won't hurt, the magnet won't hurt the phone. And the magnet's about as big as one of the old silver dollars from several years ago. It's a pretty big spot. Can be used for several things. It can be used for charging the phone. It can be used for holding on a card holder, a credit card holder. And there are a lot of different options. And they're actually selling these on the website right now, these accessories. And I'll show a few of them, show a few of them. They all have enhanced water resistance up to 6 meters for 30 minutes. And I was just curious, so I did a little research this morning, and the limit last year was 2 meters. So they've increased that significantly this year. And they all have a brighter True Tone flash. So those are all the common features. They all have an OLED display with this ceramic shield. The OLED display on the Pro line is slightly brighter, but this is the first time that they've introduced a complete line of new phones with OLED screens, and it's a welcome addition. So with that, let me talk. So let me talk about some of the big differences. The material on the regular 12 and 12 mini is aluminum, aerospace grade, and for the Pro line, it's stainless steel surgical grade. And there are significant differences in the photo area between the regular and the Pro line. So I'll get into that. So let's go over some of these features. The ceramic shield, what they did is they are coating the glass somehow with a ceramic type of material that you won't even notice, but it makes this screen 4 times better from a drop performance standpoint, and it also is very much scratch resistant. So it's a real enhancement to the screen, and that's on all the phones. As I mentioned, all of them have 5G, and the way they did this 5G, here's an LED screen, is that if the phone senses that you don't need 5G, even if you're in a 5G area, it will take you down to LED. And the reason they did that is to save battery usage, because 5G takes a lot more battery usage than LTE. So that sort of indicates that. Now, again, the the mystery here, or the fallacy, is that 5G is not going to be available in 90% of the United States, at least not the faster 5G. Okay, now let me talk about the small phone. This is the smallest phone that they have made in quite some number of years. The SE phone is on the right, and the new 12 Mini is on the left, and it has a 5.4-inch display diagonally. So 5.4 from here to here, there to there. And the twin, of course, is the regular 12 right here. Both of them 5G, both of them super retinal XDR display, which is an OLED. A little, it's very bright, but not quite as bright as the Pro. And I didn't bother to show those statistics, but they're on the website. Ceramic shield, A14 bionic chip. That's in all of them, and this chip is amazing. And I mean, it's like, there were a lot of statistics thrown out, but it's like 50% faster than the chip last year. I mean, it just flies. It has a dual camera system and the MagSafe. And I'm going to go over that MagSafe. I think that's next on here. Yes. Okay. So this shows the phone. This is a charger that you can buy, and it just snaps right onto the phone. This is a case. Case goes over the phone, and then the charger goes right on it. And I've got one more I'll show on. So here's a MagSafe card holder. Here's the card holder. You put your credit cards or whatever in there. Case goes on the phone. Zap, it stays right on there, and it must be a pretty powerful magnet. And again, if you go on the website and look under features and accessories, you'll find a lot of options of MagSafe items. And get ready to be charging your phones this way, because the big rumor is that next year there won't be a charging port anymore on an iPhone. They're going to go to this magnetic charging on the back of the phone, and I think that it's coming next year. So they're thinking people are going to like that quite a bit. Okay, so let me turn to the Pro. One more item on the regular 12. The 12 and the 12 Pro are both 6.1 inch screens. This is what they were last year. Okay. This is the big boy here. 6.7 inches. It was 6.5 last year. And I didn't check this weighs about 8 ounces. I mean, it's heavy. This one actually weighs slightly less than last year's phone, and all of these phones are slightly thinner than last year's phones. Okay, let me go on. So let's talk about the really big difference between these phones, and it's all about the photography. The regular 12 and the 12 Mini have a 2x optical zoom out, and they have a digital zoom up to 5x. The Pro 12 has a 2x zoom in, 2x zoom out, and a 4x making it a 4x zoom range, and it has digital zoom up to 12 or 10x. And then because they put a bigger lens and sensor and everything else in the Max this year, it has a 5 zoom range, and it has digital zoom up to 12. So I think from what I've read, everybody seems to think this, if you can handle the size, this is the phone to get, because The photography on this one has a lot, significantly more to offer than even the Pro. The other one that's going to be, I think, very popular is the 12 Mini, which is pretty small, and a lot of people just want a small phone. They don't want to carry around something that's big. Okay, let me go on. So let's talk about this new sensor on the big phone. On the big phone, the new sensor is 47% larger. And you can sort of see it here, this square, or rectangle. So it is, they made it, they had room, so they made it significantly larger than on the regular 12 Pro. Now, so let's talk about image stabilization. On the 12 line, you get image stabilization on one lens, the regular basic lens on there. The other lens does not have it. On the Pro, you get it on both lenses, image stabilization. But they did something different on the Max. They put in a sensor shift optical image stabilization system. And instead of it just stabilizing the lens, what this does is it actually, I can go back here, it actually, there's a stabilization built into this whole chip. So it's sort of different, and they say in the write-ups that it makes taking photography at night in low light much easier, because you can just hold the phone for a couple minutes and it'll be completely stable. So again, that's another big improvement in the Max over the regular Pro. Then okay, then the other thing that they announced on the Pro line is this Apple Pro RAW, which is supposed to be the ability to take raw photos. Now, whether it's truly a raw photo or not, I really couldn't tell, because they're doing a lot of stuff with the computer to get this, but it's supposed to be the equivalent quality of a Pro, of a raw photo. And the other caveat to this is this feature will not be available until, they said, next year, early next year. So it's not immediately available. Okay. The whole line of phones will allow for the first time recording in Dolby Vision HDR, which is a big deal if you take movies. I think I might have more on that. Let me just see. Yes, a little bit more. So on the 12 series, you can take Dolby Vision up to 30 frames per minute or per second. And on the 12 Pro and the 12 Max, you can take it up to 60 frames per second. Now, one of the final things I want to go over is the LiDAR sensor, which is only available on the Pro line. And what that is, if you think about the Face ID on a phone, where it's taking an image of your phone, an image of your face, and that's how they're able to recognize you. This does the same thing, only it goes out about 18 feet. And they had sort of a picture of it. This is it's sort of sketchy, but this is a couch and a table and things. And this is going to help quite a bit for people who want to rearrange things via AR. Okay, there's one on the battery life that I do not have up here. I apologize for that, but the battery life, I did find a screen, one picture on the battery life, and if I can bring that up real quick on my phone, I will show it because I know everybody's always interested in the batteries. It also, the LiDAR sensor helps to make focusing 6 times faster in low light. That's pretty significant. Okay, now, this is the slide I wanted to show on the battery life. So here's the battery life on the Mini, which isn't really too bad. I went and looked up what the battery life was actually on the Apple site. It's sort of hard to find, but if you Google it, a page will come up. And it was almost the same. It was 10 hours last year. It's 11 this year on this one. And the 17 hours and the 65 hours on the 12 Pro were identical. I did not check the this one. I think it might be even better than last year because it's a little bit bigger in size. And again, this Mini is going to suffer a little bit in battery life because of the size, and you can see that, but not that bad for as small as it is. Okay, so here's that bigger sensor I talked about. And they call that, again, a shift, sensor shift for the stabilization. This shows the magnet or the charger on the back, which I already showed. Okay, and here are the dates. And these are on the Apple website. So if you want a 12 Pro or a regular 12, you can pre-order starting on Friday, the 23rd, for delivery a week later, hopefully. And on the Max and on the Mini, the order date is they'll be available on the 13th of the month. Okay, so here's the lineup again. And this is their complete lineup. So this is the SE that came out a few months ago. They're retaining the 11. Here's the 12. And all these features are available on both the 12 models. And here's the Pro and the starting prices. That's the MagSafe again, and that is it. So with that, I'm going to open it up to questions.
Hi, thank you, Eckhart. So right now I don't see any questions in the pod, and I don't see any hands raised. If you do have a question, please either raise your hand or put your question in the chat pod, and Mitch will be more than happy to answer those questions for you. And so in the meantime, is there anything else you can tell us about the LiDAR sensor and the low light? I saw some great images about the low light photo capabilities of the new iPhone 12.
Yes, particularly the Pro. The Pro is going to really be able to do a lot more in low light because of that bigger sensor. And the LiDAR will help as well. And I know last year I was impressed with the low light photography. I went out on the street and there were no lights on at all, and took a photo, and these houses popped up. So I'm looking forward to that. I think it's going to be a big enhancement. Okay, we got them off.
Okay, all right.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. We have a question from James Corsica. James, could you unmute yourself and ask your question, please?
Mitch, simultaneous with the Apple presentation was an announcement from Verizon of a 5G network. Is that hype, or is that real?
Well, it's hype and real. They are developing the Max 5G network. It's only in about 3 or 4 cities, and you literally have to be close to one of these towers, and by close I mean a few hundred yards. And if you're around the side of a building, I mean, the signal gets cut down significantly. I just watched a video on that this morning. Guy went to one of the cities that Verizon had this in, and they found a tower. So he showed it to me showed it on the video on top of a telephone pole, and he was standing right below the pole or 50 foot away, and it was a clear shot. And I mean, he was getting unbelievable speeds. He was getting, I get 300 gigabytes at home, and he was getting 900, 1,000 gigabytes. And then he went around the corner of this building that was right there, and it dropped down to 300. And he's, you know, and they were saying that if you're inside of a building, it can even be lower, because these things do not like to work unless there's a direct line of sight to the tower. So yeah, does Verizon have that, and are they advertising it? Yes. I would say that they'll have it in Naples in 2 or 3 or 4 years, and who knows where it's going to be, because the faster the speed of the 5G, and their choice is to develop the fastest, the closer those towers have to be. And when the tower has to be 400 or 500 feet away, as opposed to a slower 5G that might require it to be 1,000 feet away, that's a big difference. So I'd be asking some questions. Like I say, you could be buying a phone and thinking you're going to get this real quick speed, and it'll be capable of that, but the network is not there yet.
Okay. Okay, Sue Clark, can you unmute yourself and ask your question, please?
Hi.
Hi, Sue.
Hi. How you doing? I noticed that they said they're all coming with new SIM cards because the current SIM cards aren't going to be compatible with the 12 series. So does that mean that we're all going to have to change our phone numbers or wait several days while our providers, you know, change them over?
Yeah, I think you probably will have to talk to your provider, but usually, sometimes you can just change your SIM card out. But I think this year you might, because of the 5G, and there's so many changes this year, you might need a new SIM card. And I would check with your provider, but they'll have those readily available. It might take a trip to your provider store. I mean, if I don't know what you have there in Australia. You're in Australia, right?
No, I'm in UK.
You're in the UK. Okay, I apologize for that. But I mean, like here it's Verizon and AT&T and Sprint and T-Mobile. I think those two combined. And you really need to go to those stores here in the United States or call your provider and ask them, do I need a new SIM card? I know one of the things that's irritating, at least with AT&T, I think Verizon does the same thing, is every year I get a new phone, they charge me $35 or $40 to switch my phone over. Now, the other thing that you mentioned is very important. Your phone number will not need to change at all.
Oh, thank you.
So once you get that card and get your data over, you'll be in good shape.
Thank you very much. Yeah, in the UK, we're we're not going to get 5G anytime soon, except possibly for London. Will the phone just sort of say, well, it isn't here, so just automatically do 4G most of the time?
Yeah, it'll automatically step down.
Yeah, because you said it steps down when it thinks you don't need it, but I thought, well, what's when it's not available at all?
Well, it knows you don't need it when it's not available.
Sorry, that's a stupid question, but
No, it wasn't stupid at all. But that's the way it'll work. I mean, I'm sure my phone's going to say LTE.
yeah, same here. Thank you very much.
All right, David Ginsburg, can you please unmute yourself and ask your question?
Good morning, everybody. I was wondering if you had talked about the carrier tax for other carriers besides AT&T and Verizon. I noticed that it's an extra $30 that's been added to the cost of the iPhone 12 that they added, and Apple failed to mention that at least directly.
I did not see where they were adding another $30. I know they charge you $35 or $40 to activate the phone, but I didn't know that the carriers were charging you an extra $30 or $40 a month. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, if you go and actually do the pre-order and pick the carrier that you want, or unlocked for that matter, what happens is, even though it says the base price was what, $7.99 or $6.99, depending on which model you picked or higher. If you were to pick T-Mobile or any other carrier, or Sprint, not AT&T or Verizon, you'll see an additional $30 added onto that, because it seems that that Apple has some sort of agreement between AT&T and Verizon, and they're passing on that $30 cost to the consumer. I'm a T-Mobile customer, so, and T-Mobile, of course, and Sprint are together now. But if you were to use any other carrier, even some of the side carriers like Boost Mobile or Cricket or one of those, I would think you may have to pay that extra cost through Apple as well.
I'll have to look at that.
Is
I
that
did
per
not
month,
see-
David?
No, the one-time charge. It's
Okay.
I thought like a carrier tax. That's why I put in my question that
That's standard every year with AT&T. Standard.
right. You got to pay the activation fee, but it seems like they're adding an additional $30. I don't know what T-Mobile is going to. I mean, I'll be upgrading. I'm waiting for the iPhone 12 Pro Max. I'm on the Apple upgrade program, so I'm just going to trade in my 11 Pro Max to go with the new one. But I'm concerned that is that cost going to get passed on to me? It may not, because I'm on the upgrade plan. I just trade it in, get a new one, and I just continue on with a new loan to on the monthly plan for that. But if you do go to Apple's site right now and look at the 12 and the 12 Pro that you can pre-order this Friday, if you pick T-Mobile, or an unlocked phone for that matter, it's going to have an extra $30 added onto it at the purchase point.
Okay, I'll take a look at that. I did not see that.
Yeah.
I am very accustomed to the charge that.
Yeah,
that they,
as well as the carriers are always going to charge an activation fee, and then you
Just-
complain and tell you, okay, I'm a
it's
great
one-
customer, blah, 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 and I can say,
I find that very irritating, because they always talk about customer loyalty. I've been with them
Yeah.
for 10 years. And I haven't seen customer loyalty one yet.
That's why I switched to T-Mobile. I've been on AT&T for a long. I had been on AT&T for a long time, and they could care less. And I'm very happy T-Mobile customer.
Yeah, is their coverage really good now since they merged with Sprint?
Oh, very good. I'm in Chicago, if you don't know, and Chicago has great coverage. I've been very happy, and I've traveled around the country before, pre-pandemic, of course, and the coverage for the most part has been very good. They've gotten a lot better, and they're getting a very good deal too. My bill is by far. I mean, I've got 7-foot lines on my phone, my plan right now with family members, and I think each person's paying for it, and it's probably each person's paying about $40 a month for their phone. So it's a great deal, and it's unlimited. I have unlimited everything. Data, phone, text, the whole thing.
That's good.
Yeah.
All
Good to
right,
know.
great.
Good to know, David.
Yeah.
All right. Sam Johnson, can you please unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yeah, for quite a while we've had wireless charging on our iPhones. You're talking about a magnetic charging. Is that more like what we have on the watch?
Yes, that would be very similar to what's on the watch, and only it's a much bigger circle. It's
Well, right.
yeah, it's about, you know, big as a silver dollar, probably a little bit bigger than an old silver dollar, and it's going to be on the back. Now you still, it will come with a cable. There will not be a charger in the box. I didn't mention that. That's one of their they called it an environmental enhancement. That's a nice way of saying we're not going to give it to you any longer. I mean, they went into this whole thing in their presentation about how they're saving the environment because they're not putting the charger in the package anymore, and it's a smaller package, and they use less cardboard and all this stuff. And but when you go to buy if you want to buy the 20-watt charger, which now you can get a super fast charger, I think they're charging $40 for that.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Ed Evans, can you please unmute yourself and ask your question?
Thanks. My question is kind of along the same lines, having to do with the charger, but whether it's the magnetic one or the regular cable that comes with the phone, are any of them, or are all of them going to have USB-C connections on the power end? In which case you're going to have to buy a new adapter anyhow, because I think all the old ones were regularly USB.
Yeah, you can use, I think you'll be able to use an old cable. I think the new cables are going to be, the one in is, I think I saw in the presentation is going to be USB-C. And then going into the phone will be the regular connection that we have today. But if you have an older cable or you buy one on Amazon or wherever that's Apple compatible, you'll be able to use that on this phone. As far as I know,
Okay,
I mean, cable's a cable. It's just the adapter. And I think that they put that USB-C on their cord because that's what's required if you're going to use one of those super fast chargers.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, doesn't look like it. I don't see, oh, I do see another question. About the cases, the sizes are different than the old iPhone. So do you see like any new cases coming out for the new iPhone 12 yet?
I think they're all over Apple's website already. I didn't check Amazon to see if the knockoffs are there or not. There probably are some because they usually give those measurements out to some of those manufacturers ahead of time. But I did not check. I know that those MagSafe accessories are available to order online, so I would imagine that the cases are available too.
Mitch, if I may say something about it, I ordered yesterday not my new Max Pro, but I ordered the case. I ordered a Sina case, and the delivery is about 4 to 6 weeks, and they offer a 15% discount if you get with the code "Get It Now." So the market has opened up for these new cases. My concern is only that when you use a case like that, you may not be able to use those new chargers. And also, I wonder whether the tap function, tapping 2 or 3 times on the back of the phone, whether that will be impeded if you use a case, a leather case or something.
I don't think it will. I mean, on my this is mine right here, and this is a imitation leather. You see I have a credit card right there. If I hit twice, it comes up. This is my 2-time hit. This is my 3-time. I got to close that one out. 3-time. Well, 3-time isn't want to work. Hold on a minute. I demonstrated that last time. There's the 2. There's the three.
So what, it brings
So-
up the search function?
Yeah, and the reason I set that one up is because when you're in an app on the phone or on your, well, it doesn't work on the iPad, but when you're in an app on the phone, you cannot bring up that search function unless you're on one of the menu pages. And so it was pointed out in the video that I saw that that's a good one to have on either the double tap or the triple tap, because then if you're in any app anywhere and you do that, you can get the search bar immediately.
Okay, good to know.
Make sense?
Yes, it
Yeah.
does. Good to know. All right, there is a question from someone who was leaving, but I think it's a valid enough question to ask. And they say, I have the iPhone Pro 11, and other than the camera, it seems
I'm
that there's
sorry.
no, you
I
know,
missed that. I lost your audio for a second.
okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, the question is, I have the iPhone 11 Pro, and other than the camera, there seems like there's no reason to upgrade. Is there, give me a reason to upgrade.
Well, there wouldn't be a huge reason unless you're really into photography and you want that sensor that is 47% bigger, and you want that dark mode stabilization in the Pro that is completely new, and you want the LiDAR sensor that's going to help you take better portrait pictures. I didn't mention that. The LiDAR sensor also allows you on the Pro line to take better portrait mode pictures in low light. And so, and the processor is in the phone itself is about 50% faster. But I mean, if you're a normal person, not a real photography fanatic, you know, I'd say, you know, there's no reason to jump out and do that.
Okay.
Now, if
All
you're
right.
somebody like Bob Kennedy, who is probably drooling over waiting to get that. I don't know if Bob's with us today, but I mean, he gets the big phone every year because he's really into photography. And I'm sure somebody like that is going to be very excited about all these photo features that are available. I think that's you as well, Sheeta, right?
I'm very excited about it. And let me pause with that thought. Are there any photographers in our attendance right now who would like to respond to that? Do you think that the iPhone Pro, the 12 Pro, is enough to make you upgrade for the features for the photographer? And okay, we do have one person who says, I'm excited about the photo features, me want. so Sharon is going to get one. Tom is saying could be, but they're offsetting price for their own. You guys can unmute yourself and please respond without me reading if you want. Tom,
What about
you...
Mike? What about Mike from London, the photographer?
So Mike from London was lucky enough to be in New York last year on launch day for the iPhone 11, and I bought the Max Pro, which I absolutely love, but I only use my phone for holiday pictures, and I don't think I'm going to be spending another £1,000 just yet. I'm afraid.
Well, this is Sharon from Detroit, Michigan. I use my phone all the time. I don't always carry my big Nikon around with me, but I always have my phone with me. So I take photos, you know, any and everywhere. I have the 8 Plus, and when I saw the presentation yesterday, I had to wipe the drool off. I want this phone now. I can't wait till November. So I'm excited. Me want.
Tom,
Have you thrown out your Nikon yet?
I'm never throwing out my Nikon. That's never happening because I mean, as great as the phones are and all that, there's things that they can't do. They won't ever be able to do, but because they're not meant to for that. But the phone, I'm excited. I'm gonna start turning in my pop cans so I can go get.
And I must say, I pulled out my Nikon the other day to use it. And I just was thinking, oh my God, this thing is so heavy. Let me put this back and use my iPhone for what I wanted to use it for. And I'm again, like Sharon, I won't get rid of my Nikon camera, but because of the advancements with the iPhone, I use it a lot less than how I used to use it.
I'm the
So-
same way with my Nikon sitting in the closet next to me here. I probably haven't opened a look at that camera in quite a while, and I'm very excited about the camera. I mean, I've got the 11 Pro Max now, which has an amazing camera already as it is, but even now with the additional features with the LiDAR and the be able to shoot in RAW and the HDR with video, I mean, it just adds another perspective with photography. And I mean, I asked this question to a photographer yet last night, and it's getting very close to. This could potentially be your replacement camera. I mean, you've got people who are shooting TV shows and doing movies, and some of these directors are utilizing an iPhone as the main source of video when they record their shows. So I think this is just even more of a game changer as the cameras progressed with the iPhone.
They actually showed that in the demo that with that new Dolby video.
Dolby Atmos,
They showed that you know, people making movies are going to start using this all the time. They actually showed it. They showed a brief clip of the phone on a drone flying over, taking movies. So I mean, it's pretty exciting, particularly for somebody who's into photography. If I was into photography as much as some of you all, I would have that Max, but it's just a little too big for me to lug around all the time.
Yeah, I've always gone with the Max. I mean, I've gone with the larger size iPhone since the 6 Plus. I mean, since that was the first large size phone that came out, I haven't gone back since. I've owned every single iPhone since then. So, because I'm an upgrader. I'm the crazy one who likes to stay on top of things every year. So, that's why the upgrade program for me is a great deal. I mean, it's not, it's like basically renting the phone every year, but that's how I stay up on technology too, and be able to take advantage of a lot of this great stuff. I'll make a comment about the drone. I would not be at all surprised that Lisa Jackson, who was on top of the roof at Apple Park, I would not be at all surprised that there was an iPhone in that drone photographing her, or videoing her up on that roof. It was just a pretty amazing thing that she did.
David, do you do drone photography?
I do not. No, I've not dabbled in that just yet, but I know it's become quite a phenomenon. I'm so involved with so many other things with technology. One of the technologies I haven't gotten involved in yet. It can get very expensive very quickly. I was at the Consumer Electronics Show in January, and I saw a demo of the drones where they were actually showing that they made this drone where it's weatherproof. I mean, they had it in a booth, and there's a pretty large area at the show, and the drone was moving around, and they were just starting to rain on it, and it took the rain with no problem, and it was still and they had it on a big screen to see what the video was doing, and so they've really come a long way in the drone photography area, but no, I haven't dabbled in that yet.
Okay.
You know, I have a question for him, David. Since you've been in that upgrade program, do you know if you get the 12 Max this year and your 12 months is up and you're ready to upgrade, can you downgrade to, so like next year, could you go, instead of the 13 Max, you'd go to back to the 1312?
Yeah, I mean, Apple is already sent me an email saying I could upgrade right now if I wanted to go with the 12 Pro. I don't want to. I'd find it to be too small for me, and I really love the large size screen. I mean,
you guys got me
this
thinking.
11 Pro Max is pretty awesome.
I want that extra weight around and size.
Doesn't bother me. I'm so used to it. I mean, and I have two iPhones. This is a 10R. This is my 11 Pro Max, and both this phone is a nice little phone. They're still selling it, which is pretty amazing that the 10R is still around. This is not a bad little phone, and it's got a pretty good size screen. I mean, this is a 5.8, I think, size screen. And for the size, for most people, I agree with you. I think they would prefer the smaller size phone. But again, this no question. This is big. It goes, I got big pockets too, but but
Okay.
it is very big. But I really love the large screen. I just really do. And there's a lot of people out there that do. I was actually talking to Chuck Joyner yesterday, where I was on the show, and he is convinced. When we did a reaction time episode earlier in the day, and he as soon as we reacted and saw this 11, 12 Pro Max, he said, "I'm getting that," because he's always been like you. He doesn't want the large size phone because it's just too big. But once he heard all the specs of the camera and everything that's going to be available on it, that's what sold him back. So there are some people out there who are like you, like the smaller size iPhone, but in this case, they like he is going to lean towards going the big one again. So,
Okay. All right, Jim Cutler, do you have a comment?
Yeah, I have a comment, and I have a Canon what do they call it? 70 Mark II, and
Is it for sale?
the weight helps me keep my camera steady. That's one thing. But the major thing is that I have fat fingers that don't work very well trying to adjust the zoom and the focus on the phone as a camera. I find that this is an easier motion for me, and I can shoot one-handed when I need to reach above the roof of the car and take a picture, and it's, oh yeah, I got it just right for once. But I use the iPhone camera when it's appropriate, but for shooting flowers and being able to control shutter speed and all that stuff, I really love this camera. I'm a veteran of a couple of 30Ds, and then when this came along, I lusted after it a lot, like you're talking about the 12 Pro Max.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, but I'm probably going to end up with the 12 before too long, but it's going to be the Mini, so it fits in my pocket better, because I use it as a portable database more than a camera.
All right. Thank you, Jim. Dan Sailors, do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question or make your comment?
Actually, I was just on a different note for the 12 Max, which I'm lusting after too. I used to have a 6 Plus, so I've missed that larger screen. But since I'm a FileMaker developer and I play with running all of my business stuff on FileMaker, I'm interested to see how that screen works and enjoy that real estate using FileMaker Go to do whatever I want to do as long as I got a data signal.
Good. All right. Thank you very much, Dan. Appreciate your comment. James Corsica, can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yes, on a related topic, I have 12 rolls of Kodachrome film for sale if anybody wants.
Sheeta, with that, I have a couple other things I'd like to turn to real quick, unless there are some real burning questions out there.
No, you go ahead, Mitch.
Okay, let me share my screen again. Okay, so we looked at these, and I just quickly want to go over, I assume you can see me?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. So I want to just go over a couple more of these slides. Okay, and I just want to show these. They'll be in the video. Okay, they'll be in the video, and these are the major changes in iOS 14 that I went over last time, but I didn't get a chance to show the slide, and there's another slide that shows even more of them. So this is just a listing of all of the great changes. There are actually probably well over 100, but most of the big ones that came through in iOS 14 on the iPhone. It was much more feature rich on the iPhone than it was on the iPad. These are the major ones on the iPad, and the big one was this scribble. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. And then the big one was a scribble, and I don't use it, but it's nice. I mean, you can scribble on things. It'll transform your longhand into typing and everything else. But it's a great feature, but I don't have a use for it. But those are the major changes on the iPad. On the watch, I have the watch. I love the watch. And the blood oxygen monitor is pretty accurate. I have one of the finger blood oxygen monitors that I have actually next to me in my living room, and I usually take my blood oxygen once a day, and I'll take it on the watch. And 50% of the time, the watch will give me the identical number that the pulse ox meter does. The other 50% of the time, it's within 1 to 2% above or below. And so I think it's pretty accurate. And it does periodically take, if you do the sleep mode, which is another big feature for the watch and the OS 7, it'll actually periodically during the night take your blood oxygen, and your blood oxygen usually does drop when you're sleeping. And if it drops too much, it indicates that you might need to get one of those oxygen machines. Okay, the hand washing thing is sort of a fun thing. Here's a picture of it, and it's appropriate because of the virus going around, but it did make me start washing my hands a lot longer than I used to. Okay, with that, I want to go to, I just have a couple questions that came in that I wanted to go over. One of them actually was a few weeks ago. Since getting my new phone, and this was an SE phone, the Wi-Fi is not working. And so we went through all kinds of troubleshooting. Ended up that this was a problem with VPN. And as soon as the person turned off VPN, the internet came back. And the VPN that they had was one that a lot of people in our group used to use. I used to use it, and I haven't in the last 6 or 8 months. And it's called Encrypt Me. Encrypt Me. And it's an app on the App Store. It's rated 4.5 star, I think. But but these are the steps, if your Wi-Fi is not working, that you would go through to see if you could get it to work. The last one, and actually I didn't know this person had a VPN and didn't even think that to ask the person, because they generally weren't the type that would use a VPN. But they called Apple, and on their third call to Apple, and actually after Apple had sent them a replacement phone, they got somebody who knew what they were talking about, and the guy said, "Do you have a VPN?" They said, "Yeah," and they turned it off, and bingo, everything worked. So I wanted to mention that these VPNs can be problematic.
Mitch, can I just mention that? I have the one you're just referring to, Encrypt, and
Encrypt.
I have exactly the same problem sometimes. But if I just turn it off and turn it back on again, it's fine.
Yeah,
Just-
I had it, and my year or whatever it was up, and with the virus, I'm not going out anywhere, so I haven't gotten a new one. But the next one I get is going to be Tunnel Bear, which seems to be the one that everybody seems to like.
Okay, Mitch, you have 5 minutes, but I do have a question that several people in the chat are asking. So do you want to finish your Q&A or respond to the chat?
I'll respond to this is my last question, but I will respond to them first.
Okay. the double or triple tap that you did on the back of your phone, people are asking, what is that? So can you explain what model phone you have and what you're doing and how that is set and so forth?
Yeah, I have an iPhone 11, and I think I think it might work on an iPhone 10s or 10. I'm not sure, but it works on the 11s, and I got to find out where that
It works on
is.
the 10.
What's that?
It does work on the 10.
Okay. Do you remember where it is? Is it in accessibility?
Accessibility, yes.
Accessibility, touch.
Yes, accessibility and touch. So you go into accessibility and touch, and then you go all the way to the bottom. If you want, I can mirror this and show it. Would you like me to do that? Yep.
Please.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, stop this and let me share my phone real quick. Okay. Okay, here we go. So let me get out here and go to settings. Okay, so I got to go to settings right here. And I'm going to go to accessibility right here. Then all the way to touch right here. Hit on touch. And all the way to the bottom, it's back tap. And there are a lot of them you can do. One of them that you can't do that came up in the last meeting I did is you can't do the camera. But you can do screenshots, but you can't do the camera. So if I tap on this, here's everything that you can choose.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay, and it's the same for the other one. And again, the reason I have the triple tap on Spotlight is because you cannot bring up Spotlight when you're in an app. So I'll show that. So let's just say I'm in Cyclometer and I want to bring up. See, I can't bring it up. But if I triple tap on the back, there it is.
Wonderful.
And that's
Okay.
through my credit card and the case and everything else.
Okay, great to know. Great to know. Thank you so much, Mitch. You have 2 minutes.
Okay, let me get back to my regular screen and go over this final question. It is an important one for some people. What is needed for an Apple Watch family share for a child or for your wife or somebody who you want to get a watch, but you don't want to get a phone and you want to get them into family share? And so one of our members asked this and we emailed back and forth and I wasn't satisfied with the answer I gave him. So I finally called Apple and they sent me 4 memos on this. And the last one, which is the last one I posted on our website, I gave the correct answer. So you can look there for more details, but you have to have a Series 4 watch or later. So, and if you're going to get one of those lower watches, the one I would recommend is the SE. It's really a feature-rich watch for the price. The host, all the watches have to be on iOS 7 or later. The host has to have an iOS 6 or the parent. That's the driving force, and be on, and that phone has to be on iOS 14 or later for the initial setup. An Apple ID for yourself and for the one family member who will be using the Apple Watch needs to be set up. And your Apple ID needs to have 2-factor authentication turned on. And so there's a few more details, but I thought was important to go over that. And that is all of the questions that I got. And I hope you all really enjoyed this meeting because it was a fun one to do, but I was I was in a hurry making those screenshots this morning.
All right. Can you unmute yourself and show Mitch your appreciation?
Sure. Thanks so much.
Great job.
Thank
Mitch.
you very much, Mitch.
Thanks, Mitch.
Thanks, Mitch.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
You're welcome.
Excellent.
Great meeting, Mitch.
Dennis.
Yeah, well done.
You guys got me thinking about that big phone. I'm gonna have to
Yes,
Thank-
Mitch, as the iOS expert, we really do expect you to buy the biggest and the best.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
And
those,
thank you.
those camera features on that big phone are absolutely outstanding.
Yes, they are. And thank you, everyone, for contributing to the chat. It was very, very helpful. And thank you again.
And
Enjoy
let me
your
say
day.
a few words.
Oh, yes,
Thanks.
George, there you go.
Okay, everybody, thank you. Very well attended meeting and lots of great feedback from everybody. And also, I'd like you to please fill out the survey. We do look at it and we let the speakers review it and the board of directors, and we really try to structure our meetings based on a lot of the results of the different surveys. So we really appreciate it. Thank you very much for attending, and we'll see you all next week for Joe Kissel.
Thank you, everyone. Goodbye. Have a great day.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you.